Hi, this is Queenie Yu from Bullet Point News, and I'm with Sean Hook, Canadian singer, songwriter, and producer, who has made a live appearance on Good Morning America. He's been featured on several ABC TV shows, as well as on NBC's Today Show. Sean acted on the Fox TV show Bones. His highest charting single, Sound of Your Heart, was featured in promotional commercials for season 20 of The Bachelor. Sean's single, Reminding Me, featuring Vanessa Hudgens, was performed on the season 14 finale of So You Think You Can Dance. Sean, welcome to Bullet Point News.
Thank you for having me. I've got to save that bio. I like that.
Okay, great. I'll send it to you later.
You hit all the points, all the highlights.
Great. So, Sean, you started playing the piano when you were 4. In high school, you played the piano and trombone in a jazz combo and band. Did you aspire to be on the world stage at an early age?
That's a good question. Thinking back to my earliest memories, I did used to before I was even in lessons, just sit at the piano and pretend I was Jerry Lee Lewis, because I didn't even know who Jerry Lee Lewis was. I just saw him in a movie that my parents were watching, and I thought it was really cool. And that's like my earliest memory of music and piano and what I was, why I liked it. And then in elementary school, I was taking piano lessons at Royal Conservatory outside of school.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until like high school that I think, started thinking like, having fantasies of performing on stage and thinking, visualizing myself like performing for crowds and audiences. And I think that's where the dream really started.
Could you tell us about the causes you support and why you think it's important to give back?
I've supported a various amount of different charities and whatnot throughout my career, just because, as a singer, having a platform to an audience, I want to do whatever I can to help amplify and leverage causes that are near and dear to my heart. Um, Currently, I sit on the board of directors for the Unison Fund, which is Canada's music charity, and we're basically an emergency relief fund for workers in the music industry. And this last 2 years have been pretty hard on our industry in general, just because musicians couldn't tour, people lost their jobs, venues closed, people that relied on a steady income from their work in the music industry all of a sudden lost it and had to move, and it was just really horrible. So I joined with Unison probably 2 years ago, and yeah, I'm that one's really near and dear to my heart. Early on, I started a small organization with a friend here in Victoria. I'm actually on Vancouver Island today for a show. We call it Feed the Need, and our simple goal was just to raise food for local food banks. And so I did a little tour around British Columbia to high schools and asked kids to bring food as admission to the show, and just kind of started from there. But yeah, there's different causes here and there in between that I'm always down to support and help out. So if anyone's listening to this and they want me to amplify anything that they're trying to get out there, please, yeah, please reach out.
What would you say to a young person who wants to become a singer, songwriter, or producer like you?
I think nowadays on, the younger generation, there's a lot of pressure to put themselves out on social media and just to get followers and get, attention, and then they kind of worry about the other stuff later. I would say put your phone away and go and practice and hone your craft in. You will find an audience eventually, but I feel like there's a lot of um the cart's kind of got ahead of the horse a little bit in terms of the music industry and what's the substance of music and what music is foundationally at its core is you know a skill that requires time and effort and energy and hours of practice and yeah, I would just recommend putting the phone away, focusing on the fundamentals of, if it's a singer, go take vocal lessons. If you're a piano player, go take piano lessons, watch YouTube videos, study from the best, absorb as much knowledge as you can, and then yeah, put yourself out there, and go from there.
What is one of the greatest challenges that you've experienced, and how did you overcome it?
The challenge of being from a small town and having enough courage to really believe in what I was trying to achieve in the music industry. I think making that decision to basically leave. I grew up in in South Slocan, British Columbia, which is about 8 hours away from Vancouver. I was, working for my dad at the time, and he still does. He has a logging road business where he builds logging roads in the forest industry. And I was kind of supposed to, take that path. My grandfather did the same thing. My uncles all do the same thing. And I wanted to pursue something different. I wanted to follow my dream. And thankfully, my family, set me up in a position where they, allowed me to go to college and helped me out to go to college. And I think that was the biggest challenge, was just that seminal moment of deciding, am I just turning something behind and just facing that mental roadblock that I think we all create for ourselves sometimes when there's risk involved. And I think once I went beyond that, got over that, then things just started to happen as they would, because I kind of got rid of that first really hard mental roadblock.
What would you say you're most proud of?
I'm proud of the goals, I guess, that I've achieved on a personal note. I'm proud of anyone that I've ever helped or inspired through the philanthropic efforts that I've put out there. Um, and I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of, being from a small town, and the people that are there that have helped me get to where I am. And I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am if I didn't have the people in my hometown, my teachers, the community that really helped foster my development in early stages.
How do you write the songs that you do?
Uh, I, my best songs are ones that just come out of my subconscious, sitting down at a piano, a guitar, and coming up with melody first before lyric. And then it's kind of like, oh, this feels like something. Oh, this is a mood. This is reminding me of something in my subconscious. And then, then I try to come up with lyrics and relatable stories and stuff that I've been through in my life, and then form it from there. It's like building.
What advice would you give to a student who wants to go into music?
I think when I was younger, I was just, like, this is what I'm gonna do, whether you like it or not. And now it's like I see what, my parents and my teachers were saying. The industry, there are no guarantees, and it's a really hard industry to break into because there isn't much structure. There's a lot of turnover, and it just requires so much. I mean, to be honest, it requires a lot of luck. It requires a lot of perseverance, a lot of thick skin. The most successful people in any field of work that I've come in touch with, but in music, are super hungry, dedicated, and driven. And I think if you hold those traits, whether you're a young person in this industry or someone that's my age that's been doing it for a while, you can't lose the hunger and the perseverance and the drive. Those are the most important parts, because through that, if you do it consistently every single day, eventually you'll break through and make progress and find success. So I guess, long story short, my advice would be to follow that, but make sure you have goals and you're realistic about them, and you persevere and stick to it, and don't lose that drive. You have to be the hardest worker in the room, regardless of what you're working at.
You talked about thick skin. Why is that so important?
When we listen to music and there's familiarity, when you listen to a popular artist on the radio like Adele, like, oh, it's Adele, it's amazing, or from her new, and her music is amazing. If you're a young artist and you're just starting to form your sound, and you're not at the level of Adele, or people can be harsh in this world. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity, and I experienced it early on. I still experience it, but people saying you're not good enough, that, oh, you're just copying this person, or there's so many criticisms I've heard in my career. And if I listened to those too closely, it really could have discouraged my whole entire being as an artist. So I've kind of found a way early on to kind of take that criticism and let it fuel me, and turn it into, okay, I'll prove you wrong. Watch me.
You've performed in front of many people, and soon you're coming to Stouffville, a town of 50,000 people. Do you have a preference for performing in front of large audiences or smaller ones?
I don't have a preference, because each one is great in its own way. Before, I was in Campbell River, and it was a small theater, a really intimate audience, just me and my grand piano, and it was one of my most memorable shows that I've had. and then I've played, Rogers Arena, I've played Air Canada Center to screaming fans, and that's incredible as well, in a totally different way. Um, Getting to the heart of who I am as a person and what I do. The smaller shows, I tend to be, I'm just more in my element. I think people who have a chance to see me when I'm performing solo like that get to see the real me. There's just this intimacy and this connection that you don't really get in the massive audiences and the massive arenas.
When you're performing, what do you think about? How do you connect with your audience, and how would you like them to connect with you?
Before I go on stage, like even today, like I visualize a lot. Like this morning, I went for a run in the city. I walked around the city and just kind of looked around because it's important to me to get a feeling of the city and the vibe and the energy, and also just to visualize the set and think how I can relate and connect. And it's really important for me to connect. And I really respect the people that spent money on a ticket to come and see me perform. And I want to make sure when I'm up on stage, people are entertained and they see that I've taken time to really connect and come up with a bit of a narrative in between my songs to relate. It starts before the show, and then once I'm in the show, um I like to just dive into the music when I'm performing and just be as true to that expression as possible, and then also after just to kind of talk to the audience, have a conversation.
Who would you say you admire most?
I think my grandfather, my late grandfather, because he just embodies everything I want to be as a person and as a family person as well. It's important whether I've gone through ups and downs in my career, that a career doesn't define who I am as a person. I think my grandfather installed that in me early on when I had some success when he was still alive. He said, "I'm so proud of you for everything you've done in your career, but just remember your family is should always be your priority, and that should be your number one." And at the time, it's like, okay, I understand, grandfather, and now I see it, and now I see the joy that he had later on in his life from his family and what he's done for so many people in our family. So yeah, I think I admire him the most, if that's the qualifier.
What about your personal beliefs, guiding principles?
I believe like simply that you should treat others how you want to be treated, and respect others regardless of their race, their sex, their religion. We're human beings at the end of the day. And as a younger kid, I was really like confused. I like asked my mom all the time, like, what are we like? What's the point? Like, I like really like I wanted I didn't know what life was about, and I was really really like, what's the point of life? And I really like I don't know why, but I was really obsessed with finding out what we were and like why we were here. And my mom told me we were here to love, and I was like, okay, like she's like, we're just here to love everybody and feel love, and I'm like, okay, that resonated with me at a young age for whatever it's worth. And as I grow up, it's coexisting. What separates me from a cow living in the field with their offspring? You know what I mean? Like we're all beings, and I don't know. I feel like that kind of that's the foundation of my guiding principles, I guess, is to coexist and enjoy this time while we have it on this earth, and enjoy life as much as we can to the fullest.
Sean, thank you so much for joining us at Bullet Point News. See you soon at the Stouffville Holiday Market.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited. I'll be there next week and can't wait.
Yeah. Do you have any special message for the residents of Stouffville before you come?
I'm hopeful to see all of you out there. I don't think I've performed in Stouffville yet, and so I'm excited to go there for the first time and experience it. I've heard great things, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful tour.
Yeah, thanks so much. We'll talk to
Yeah.
you later.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.